Let's get out to America's Radio Newsline, have a conversation with Robert Weiner. He is the National Democratic Strategist, former Clinton White House Senior Public Affairs Director. Mr. Weiner, welcome to America's Radio News.
Chris, it's great to be with you, and hello to my old friends John McCaslin, and we want to make sure Lori gets better quickly. Best to Lori, and hello to Rachel. We had a lot of fun at the convention, and it's good to be with you again.
Glad to hear that, sir. Thank you very much. You just heard the president there talking about his vision for the next 4 years. A lot of critics are saying that sounds an awful lot like back in 2008, the same promises he was making back then.
Well, it's not. It's progress. The Republicans want to say we're not better off, but that's a nutsy thing to say when you consider we were losing, Chris, 800,000 jobs a month. The economy was in crash. Detroit was in crash, and bin Laden was alive. All that's changed. We've gained 4.5 million jobs. Bin Laden's dead. The car industry is back to number one, and we're gaining. And they try to pin it as absolute numbers. You can't count those first 2 months, which were the still Bush reverses of 800,000 a month. Since then, 3 straight years of job gains and 4.6 million jobs. So I want to know how we're not better off.
Well, economists will tell you a lot of those months averaging those job gains don't even keep up with population growth, that the United States isn't exceeding the population growth, and that's why we're still seeing high unemployment over 8%. What do you say?
I agree. Of course, we were at 10% under Bush when we came in, and we're at 8.1% now.
Actually, 7.9% is where that was the handoff. It did reach 10% in the first couple of months of the Obama administration.
Okay. In the first couple of months of the Bush 800,000 a month job loss price we were paying for the crash and dereg of Wall Street and the tax cuts, the real answer to your question, Chris, is the tax cuts. They haven't worked since Herbert Hoover. You know, trickle down doesn't work. And to say that it does is nuts. Democratic presidents have had a 5.5% GDP growth. Republican presidents since Hoover, 1.5% because they believe in tax cuts as though money grows on trees. What Clinton said at the convention, that it's arithmetic. You can't create money out of nowhere, and if you're doing tax cuts, you have a deficit that dies and an economy that dies. So that's what the Republicans have created. Obama's biggest mistake, in my opinion, if you want honesty here, which I always try to give, but Obama's biggest mistake was ever agreeing to the Bush tax cuts. They've been a disaster for the economy. Now he's straightened up. We're trying to reverse that. We want to go back to the Clinton rates. And Chris, what he said, the Republicans say you have no program. Obama has said take half the money from the closing down of the 2 wars, use half for the deficit and half for people and infrastructure programs. That's a dynamic program going forward, and the Republicans don't want to hear it.
Robert Weiner, our guest right now, National Democratic Strategist, former Clinton White House Senior Public Affairs Director. Now, are you at all concerned if maybe down the line Republicans say, okay, fine, let's go back to those Clinton tax rates, and also let's go back to the Clinton era of spending, because under this president, spending has grown by leaps and bounds, sir?
The only spending increases because Obama has, in fact, decreased the size of the government. Another Republican myth, decreased the size of the government by 500,000. So that there have been no spending increases in increasing the size of the government. We have absolutely, and that's the part that's worked, put jobs into stimulus, although the Republicans even want to obstruct the million first offender jobs and teachers and firefighters and police. They want to stop the Jobs for America bill because their objective when Mitch McConnell came in was to obstruct everything that Obama wanted to do. You know, all you have to do, Chris, is read the headlines today. Romney flubbed his nominating convention. That's because he had no message other than cutting Medicare and cutting jobs, by stopping the Congress's jobs bills. Romney at risk of losing long-held edge on the deficit issue. That's because Obama has a plan for him, and Romney would increase $5 trillion to the deficit. Romney to reveal details of plan to help middle class. He's never talked about it. His plan has been cutting Social Security, attacking women, and telling kids they got to borrow money from their parents. Romney plan may put seniors' care at risk, studies say, cutting Medicare. Those are the headlines in the first 5 pages just from today's Washington Post. All you have to do is rip and read, and you realize why that Obama got a convention bounce and Romney got a convention loss.
All right, Robert Weiner, he's a National Democratic Strategist, former Clinton White House Senior Public Affairs Director. Going to be a pretty long couple of months here, so we'll get you back, sir.
Thanks so much.